Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
Most now current Brexit Party voters are former Tories rather than being former Labour Party.
And they're
voters.
and Farage's extreme position is what? No deal.
Yeah. I mean, that is basically what they'll campaign on. I think that's basically what they'll campaign on is no deal.
As far as like the Corbyn's Labour Party's position via Brexit is it's a hard one to do, and you think because like Corbyn himself is basically kind of like, as we said, basically kind of pro-Brexit. And, in this room, there are many good like left-wing reasons to want to get out of the EU if you are in the UK. However, do you think it's tough for him as far as trying to craft a populist left-wing message when so much of the Brexit energy and political movement is tied up with anti-immigrant sort of nativist
100%.
So it's really hard to make that case if you're talking about austerity and how like you don't want to give Belgium like a veto power over your debt to GDP ratio or budget when for the people like constituents or just people in the streets are like feeling the energy of like all of the energy and focus about Brexit is about getting immigrants and non-white people or even or Eastern European people out of the country.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a way in which the referendum has been very, very functional to the people in power. There's a lot of talk about how ultimately Brexit will harm capitalists and like big business doesn't want it. And to an extent, that's true. But it has, it's similar to like how the far right has managed to like mobilize support amongst normal people in society, whereas previously, for a while they've been just, like having, protests about shit that no one else cares about. They've been able to kind of boost their support since the financial crisis because obviously, there are a bunch of parts of the world where people have been screwed over, not just for the last 10 years, but the last 40 years by a form of very extractive financial globalization that has led to, the emergence of massive multinational corporations that's seen their jobs offshored, that's seen their wages eroded, etc. And in the absence of a left that was able to kind of talk about those concerns in a way that linked them to an analysis of class, the right picks them up and says the reason that all this stuff is happening is because, a bunch of brown people have moved into your neighborhood, right? So that is the way in which the Brexit situation did not just kind of randomly emerge and screw over the Corbyn project. It's in many ways part of the same thing. It's part of this backlash against financial globalization, against capitalism. And the thing about Corbynism is that the only way that it is successful, the only way that any socialist project is successful is if it mobilizes people based on those concerns, but transforms it into a class project and actually says, all of us who work for a wage have something in common. And some of us are more exploited than others because that's functional for capitalism to create different kind of sections of the working class that can be subject to different layers of exploitation and for those people to be oppressed and like shat on by everyone else. But actually don't, look at the people that are shitting on you from up there. Don't pick up their shit and start throwing it at each other.
Watching from afar, I got to bring this up because it is one of the genuinely most surreal things to observe about UK politics from America. How much is this Corbyn is an anti-Semite thing? Has that gained more or less traction? Because I just see it being talked about all the time. And I always wonder, what are these people actually referring to as far as his beliefs or statements?
There's always this thing about how on some areas of the left where you don't have a good analysis of class that tilts into conspiratorialism, right? And it's like
you start talking about bankers,
and Rothschild
media
bankers,
elites and things like that.
In a way that's is actively anti-Semitic. And there's been one maybe major thing, which was there was this mural that looked like it was basically kind of alluding to that type of conspiratorial mindset. And
is it the Denver International Airport or
no?
Okay. All right, different mural.
Different mural.
Okay.
And Corbyn basically looked like he was defending it on Facebook. And there is some stuff that's linked to that within the Labour Party. And I mean, I'm sure you see it on the left in the US. People who spend way too much time on YouTube being the Rothschilds rule the world. But the main thing has been an attempt to delegitimize defense of Palestinians, right?
Yeah.
So, basically it's functional for the right to be able to take this actual shit that does circulate and lump it in with any criticism of Israel and basically make it so that if you try to say, I'm defending Palestinians, then you are automatically an anti-Semite who also believes the Rothschilds rule the world, right?
But, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess like maybe it's like the Jewish community, like in America and the UK are different. But like, doesn't it give any of these people pause? Like these people, like the laborers, like, I could never vote for Corbyn now because that will make officially Labor an anti-Semitic party. Does it not give them pause at all that the people who are like most passionately pushing this idea that like Corbyn is we can never cross that line into hatred, are all literally part of like the vampire like British ruling class who like dress like Nazis for fun and like all went to schools where like if there was one Jewish kid there, they were like, I don't know, pelted with oranges or hit with paddles or something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess, but also what they've managed to do is marginalize all the left Jews in the UK, right? Like, for some unknown reason, there is now, like, if you say this, like, person who is like Jewish and supports Corbyn and whatever says actually that, I still support Corbyn and for these reasons, they're somehow like the wrong kind of Jew. And that's just something that's become accepted in this weird way.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
Same here. They've made that argument explicitly. I've seen,
I just
especially
think that's
about
like anti-Semitic as shit.
Oh, it is. Especially they say it explicitly about a friend of the show, Ellie Valley.
yeah.
It's just like a white guy, a white Gentile gets to define who is and who isn't a legitimate Jew. It's insane.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I don't have much more thought that, like, I mean, I said a long time ago, it's like either you can support Corbyn and just know that you're going to have to deal with this shit, or if you can get pushed off your, platform that easily, then like maybe you shouldn't care about politics that much to begin with. But
yeah.
Okay. Finally, actually, I want to get to one more UK character. We talked about the Lib Dems. Could you explain a little bit who Jo Swinson is and what her deal is?
I hear she's a Tory. That's
basically
the message.
She's one of the nice Tories. She's like, free markets are great, but I don't actually hate, like ethnic minorities, gay people, and women. And I am a woman, so how could I possibly hate them? It doesn't matter that like austerity has disproportionately damaged.
So
like,
that's essentially just being a Cameron Tory.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. Like they have a lot in common. There was a reason that there was a coalition between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives.
And this is my favorite thing. I remember back in 2017 where they did like the debates, and it was just like an audience full of the red-faced, the gammons. As
the gammon.
The gammon contingency.
Do you guys have a thing for gammon here?
Chud is what we call them on our show.
A gammon is a type of ham.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly.
Oh, because they look like
Steamed
ham. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
they look like
that's very
hams.
good. Yeah, we don't have the word gammon is the thing.
I feel like gammon is not as much of a delicacy here.
No.
You guys don't really
yeah.
eat that much pork, do you?
Well, I do.
Oh,
but, I mean,
we eat a fair amount of pork,
Okay.
but it's processed in a strange
Oh, it's like that
form.
horrible bacon stuff.
Like right there. That's.
Oh, that's a hot dog though?
Oh, indeed.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that is pork. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
there's like that. We're like, there's all the gammons asking Corbyn like, all right, would you launch the Trident missiles right now if we told you to? And he was just like, no, are you fucking insane? And then the media was like, Corbyn is over. He cannot possibly be PM. He said he wouldn't preemptively start World War III. It's over. I saw just yesterday, Jo Swinson said apparently one of the first acts you do if you are able to form a government as prime minister is give the order to the Trident nuclear submarines to like,
that's
you're good to
that's
go.
why-
Like, green light in case you ever get the call. And she was like, she said, I don't think Corbyn, would give that order.
Corbyn wouldn't do the nuclear holocaust, so he's not fit to lead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also insane to give that order because it's solely at that point.
Yeah, it's
there's
a
no
moot point.
deterrent.
Yeah, there's no deterrent.
I don't
purpose.
understand how people don't get that as soon as someone launches a nuclear missile, everyone is basically dead. Like everyone goes into panic mode. It's like that scene in Doctor Strangelove where everyone's just fucking pressing the like missiles and everyone dies because everyone's freaking out and it's all just a bunch of men who are in control and they're like, I don't want to be the last one to push the nuclear button. They're all dead.
Well, the idea is like, I don't want to die. Like, I'm like, we're fucked. The missiles are already in the air. But
Let's
like,
take some people down with us.
I'll be damned if I'm going to go out without
Yes.
ending all life on the rest of the planet Earth,
Well, the real science fiction ending I like to imagine is that there's just been a long-running conspiracy among physicists, the engineers and physicists who actually designed the nuclear weapons, and that none of them work. Absolutely
Wow.
none of them work. And that
That would be
the button
jokes.
that Trump has and that Putin has and that
Doesn't
and that
connect
Boris has,
anything.
it's just a busy
It's
box.
like one of those Staples buttons that you just get. That's just like.
I mean, were that true, honestly, brilliant plan because it probably has averted, all-out war between, for instance, America and the Soviet Union.
Yeah, like we if we could actually, one day it's going to be revealed that every president actually has launched nukes at some point, and this has all been just a psychological test.
Or and that nuclear power itself, like all those power plants, it's just coal.
Yeah, it's
Just more all that stuff you see coming out the top. It's just regular smoke. It's all made up.
no,
Yeah.
trust us, this works. It's atom gamma radiation, and then everyone's like, yeah, all right, cool, yeah.
All right. Well, would you like to now make a transition into a reading series to round out the show?
Oh, sure.
Version
Is it UK flavor?
It is not UK flavor. It is written by a Scottish woman. So I guess
Okay.
It is UK flavor.
yeah, right.
the
From
United
the English Kingdom
remember
of
the
Scotland.
Kingdom, we had
Yeah.
this at the beginning. Scotland is part of it.
Oh, the
but
North.
the actual subject matter of it is not related whatsoever.
Scotland, also called Northern England.
Yes. That's what you told people when you were in Glasgow.
Yes.
And then
They loved it.
Yeah, they loved it.
we made a hasty exit from the
Okay, so no, this is Virgil, I don't know if you saw this. I saw it this morning, and it was one of the funniest things I've read all year. It's been a while since we've checked in on the war, and by the war I mean the war on bathrooms by sickos.
Oh, yes.
The bathroom wars.
Yes. The long night.
Yeah. This comes courtesy of the National Review. It is titled "Against Gender Neutral Bathrooms."
I feel like that article's never been written before. This must be super original content right here.
Oh, it goes places. That's for sure.
Just right off the bat, that is just an unpopular opinion, period. Because everyone looks forward to the single occupancy, gender neutral cubicle bathroom.
Because you can skip the queue.
Yeah, there's also, you could do drugs in there.
Yeah,
right.
I was gonna say,
and that,
yeah,
right.
No, yeah, as opposed to here's a place with just a row of urinals or something. It's like, all right, what am I going to do
yeah,
here?
exactly. All right, so this is Against Gender Neutral Bathrooms. This is in the pages of the National Review by someone named Madeline Kearns, who is Scottish, and you will see some of the Scottish stuff in her writing. It definitely comes through. So, subhead: They're pointless, wasteful, and sexist. Okay, here we go.
Galaxy brain.
So he goes, she begins here. I was out for lunch at a Manhattan restaurant with my friend's daughter, an exceptionally classy 7-year-old.
Wow.
Okay? All right, so that's the first
Already.
That's the first sentence, and there's already a lot going on here.
To digest that.
She was out
Very
for
Pod Horitz energy.
She
with
was
that one.
out at a Manhattan restaurant for a power lunch with a 7-year-old who was not her child. And her friend wasn't even with her.
Oh, wait, the friend wasn't there.
No. She's just, I'd
Wow.
taken my friend's classy 7-year-old to lunch at a Manhattan restaurant.
So her saying she's classy is basically a way of being like, it's okay.
She's not-
because
yeah.
it was basically like in the city.
This is, yeah, they're having Cosmos. As you will see, they will talk about boys eventually. But
it was on the Upper East Side on a certain block where a certain mansion resides, where, like they say, proper attire required. They say proper attire and child required.
This is one of the negotiations that Trump talks about. I just did a fantastic deal with a Mr. Fisher and a Mr. Price.
Please, may I go to the bathroom by myself, she asked. Yes, but no dilly-dallying, I replied, and off she went, striding briskly, blonde curls a-bouncing, straight into an all-gender bathroom.
This sounds like, you guys don't have it over here, but we had these like Enid Blyton novels called like The Naughtiest Girl in the School, which was like, Enid walked down the street, her blonde curls bouncing, and out popped something. It's
well-
just like weird.
Well, I'm just imagining this woman, watching this like Fauntleroy-ish child go off to the bathroom and seeing the bathroom door close behind her, like bobbing curls, and once the woman sees the male, female, all gender sign on it, just like the Kill Bill sirens started going off in the background. Her eyes turn blood red.
So this is great right here. Striding briskly, blonde curls a-bouncing, straight into an all-gender restroom. Oh, dear. As she entered this unlocked, lockable room, great writing here.
Wow.
As she entered this unlocked, lockable room, 3 little boys were now in full view, urinating around one toilet. You know.
Three Musketeers. They're crossing swords.
Yeah. This is pee gang.
Yes.
This is piss gang shit.
This is like a 1910s like Coca-Cola ad where they're all wearing like overalls with like one cheek hanging out the back.
So he goes, now in full view, urinating around one toilet. Perturbed, if not alarmed, my young friend immediately burst back out, gave me a big wave as if to say, oops, and don't worry. She turned on her heel, disappearing around the corner. A moment passed. One by one, the heads of three naughty little boys popped out. It's just like one above the other, like the Three Stooges looking around a corner or something.
All in one big coat.
Yeah.
One top of the other.
Well, that's how they got into the adult gender neutral bathroom.
Yes.
They were wearing a long trench coat on each other's shoulders. So he goes, one by one, the heads of three naughty little boys popped out. Scheming and snickering with cat-like tread, they traced my wee pal's route. So he goes, terrifying and immediate was my arrival on the scene, scattering the would-be tormentors.
What is this person's writing? Terrifying and immediate was my arrival on the scene.
Yep.
That is an appalling sentence structure.
This is done with like the verbiage and style of like an A. Milne story.
Yes, this is what I
Just
mean.
but about like
Yeah.
modern gender panic.
So he goes here, scattering the would-be tormentors. Those boys are trying to peek on me, she said. I like that she also, like, the girl is 7 years old. She doesn't describe how old the boys are. I'm assuming around the same age, which brings up, really, what kind of lunch is this? Is this a Chuck E. Cheese? Or what the fuck? Why are there so many children in this goddamn restaurant? I only peeked on them by accident. Little boys are little savages, I told her gently, adding that very few improve with age. More importantly, I explained...
Hashtag feminism.
yeah. More importantly, I explained that gender-neutral bathrooms were only recently invented. Okay, a couple things here.
Only recently.
A couple things here. One, she's telling her incredibly bright and precocious friend's child that boys are little monsters who will grow into even worse adults, and your lot in life as a woman is just to endure that. And,
Oh,
you should just
God.
you get used to being mistreated by men. It's just the way things are.
Oh.
But then when she says gender neutral bathrooms were just recently invented, it's like if you've ever been in someone's house, you've used a gender neutral bathroom.
I'm pretty
you know?
sure that like gendered bathrooms are in the long scope of human history